How do you prepare for your exams? Answering questions and answers. So stay tuned. All right, so we're going to continue with questions and answers from session 10. This is session 11. So you can watch the prior video, okay, session 10, and I'm continuing from that. All right, so let's get started. As usual, we're going to do this book. Excellent, excellent book, even though it's an older one from 2006. However, it is awesome. It is a Texas real estate book. However, it applies to anybody from all the 50 states. And then the last part of the class is on Texas questions and answers. I break down the questions, point out key trigger words that will help you answer the question correctly or may trigger you to answer it wrong, right? So I'd like you to participate in the questions and answers section so that I can help you understand it. Don't be afraid to type in your question and your answers in the chat box, okay? And before you go, if you're on Facebook Live, before you start posting, make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to post your name on here. All right, so again, this is the awesome book, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam, but it applies to anyone nationally. It gives you a review on how to prepare for the exam, and it is very important. The preparation is important. I have a couple of videos that are concerning preparing for the exam, your mindset. But one of the best things is skip the first 5 questions. They're always the hardest. And if you get stuck there, you're going to get nervous for the rest of the exam. Second thing is also click the math questions for review. Answer all the easy questions and come back to the difficult ones. And you'd be amazed at how you'll be able to answer all the questions. So this one has 4 exams, 1, 2, 3, and 4 with 110 questions, 80 national questions. The first 80 are national questions, and it also explains the answers. Little refresher course, math review, and of course, one of my favorite, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. All right, so let's get going. So we're starting with question 61 today because we finished 60 on Saturday. Okay, number 61, or maybe we ended up doing 61 because it sounds familiar. I could be wrong. Well, we're going to start here at 60. Okay, so the owner is anxious to sell a property and hires a broker to be the only professional marketing the property. All other brokers are excluded from selling the property. What form of agreement do the parties have? So what kind of listing agreement do the party have? A, an open listing. B, an exclusive right to sell listing. C, an exclusive agency. Or D, a net listing. So type your answers in the chat and I'll be back with the answer. Hi, Lulu, or Lulada. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us today. So we're doing national questions today and state, but the state portion will be Texas state questions. Okay, so the answer here is what? An open listing, right? No, I'm sorry. So all other brokers are excluded from selling the property. The one we ended up last week was an open listing. This one says all other brokers are excluded from selling the property. What form of an agreement do the parties have? Okay, so the real estate company, the broker, okay, hired is now representing an owner anxious to sell, and the broker is the only professional. What kind of listing is that? It's an exclusive listing. So you might say, but Lillie, what about an exclusive right to sell? Well, all of these listings that we have with them are an exclusive agency listing, okay, which only one broker can sell. However, if the seller, whether they bring the buyer or not, still has to pay for the commission, then it's absolutely an exclusive right to sell listing, okay? But when the owner designates a one broker, one agent, it's in general, okay, in general terms, it's an exclusive listing. It doesn't specify whether if the owner sells it, the commission doesn't get paid. If the owner sells it, the commission gets paid. Therefore, it's an exclusive listing. If that other section was in there, then it would be called an exclusive right to sell. Okay, so let me see here. Why can't I access the chat box? Well. Okay, so hi, Jayla. So the answer, and this is National Exam number 2, 61C. Okay, very good. There we go. All right, number 62. Oh, this is a little bit long one. So let's reduce it here to 350 and see if that'll work. No, that didn't work. All right, there we go. All right, 62. A broker agrees to represent the seller in the sale of a property. Okay, a broker. Okay, it doesn't say an agent, so pay attention to that. It says a broker. The listing contract states that the broker will receive a fee of $15,000 from the seller at closing, regardless of the sales price. Is this a valid form of compensation? A, yes, compensation can be determined in any number of ways as long as the seller and broker agree. B, no, a flat fee exposes the seller to being cheated. C, yes, the broker is supposed to charge what the traffic will bear. D, no, the seller should pay on the basis of a stated percentage of the contract price. So remember, all commissions are negotiated. Hey, Donnie, how's it going? Welcome to the class. Tutoring, prep, whatever we want to call it, right? Okay. So take your time to post the answer, type the answer question and the number in the chat box, either on here on StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are watching. It would be great if you would go to YouTube, okay, and watch from there, because then you'll be able to see all the answers and the comments no matter where you're watching. Okay, anybody writing down an answer for 62? Oh, and I didn't type, show the answer. Remember, type your answer in the chat. Right now, I just typed 61C. For some reason, I typed it wrong. I said 1C. Okay, so that was for 61. We're now on 62, national questions. Nobody's participating. All right, the answer is 62A. Remember, commission is negotiable. A flat fee is okay. And so the answer is this a valid form of compensation? Yes, of course. Compensation can be determined in any number of ways as long as the seller and the broker agree. It doesn't have to be 2%, 3%, 60%, the going rate. There is no going rate. There is no set commission. There is no standard commission. When somebody asks you, instead of saying, well, the standard commission is, no, you say, my commission fee is 6% or whatever you're able to achieve with them. If you can get 7%, awesome, right? Because we provide a large, huge service and we're there to protect them. Lou, no, the answer is 62A. D says seller should pay on a basis of a percentage. No, there is no percentage, no amount required. It is negotiable between the seller, principal, owner, okay, and the broker. However, you know, when we're representing a client and we're not a broker, we're a realtor, we're an agent, but we're the associate for the broker. Therefore, we're the one negotiating with the client, principal, owner. Okay. All right, number 63. Okay, hold on. Let me write the answers on Facebook. And you're going to see them on here. So just know that. All right, number 63. For those of you who just came in, we are doing national questions, applies to all 50 states. And this week was an awesome week for a lot of students passing. And they were stating that they followed my advice about skipping the first 5 questions of the exam, click them for review and the math, answer all the easy questions first, and then come back to the first 5. First 5 are the hardest, and they're there to trick you and get you all nervous. So answer all the easy ones first, come back to the difficult ones. Number 63. And they also emphasized vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Okay. 63. Which of the following are protected classes under fair housing law? Protected classes under fair housing law. So A, color, race, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, and marital status. B, color, race, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, and source of income. C, race, religion, national origin, sex, age, handicap, and familial status. D, color, race, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, and familial status. Remember, there are 7 protected classes at least. Yes, 7 protected classes. Okay, so far I have D from Susie. Hi, Susie. Anybody else? The answer here is D. Color, race, religion, national origin, and sex, handicap, and familial status. Marital status, it doesn't matter, right? Not everybody that's married is going to be buying. Single family also buy or rent. And familial status is for family with children, right? Any religion, any race, color, right? National origin, you know, where are they from? Their ethnicity, color, race, handicap. So 63 is D. Very good. And you may want to remember, you know, when they started in 1968, what was the first one, things like that. All right, number 64. Go to the next column. Okay, anyone who just came in, we are doing national questions. And it might be easier for you to go to the YouTube channel and you'll be able to see the typed answers in there. Sometimes I forget to type them on the Facebook group and you may not see them later. Okay, good. 64, real estate agents are licensed by, so remember, real estate agents are realtors when we sign up with our local MLS, your state's commission, real estate commission, and national. If we're not registered with those three, we are agents. Okay. We don't have the expertise and professionality, but as we would as a realtor. And keep in mind, it's not realtor. A lot of people say realtor. There's no A after the L. It's realtor. So realtor, real estate agent. Okay. Real estate agents are licensed by whom? A, the U.S. Attorney General's office. B, their state. C, their local association of realtors. Or D, the Federal Trade Commission. Who are they licensed? Who are we licensed by? Type it in the chat. Okay, so far I have B. Thank you for typing the letter and answer. Okay, there's quite a few in here. Okay, B, Joyla, Donnie also says B. We're on a roll. Yes, the answer is B, their state. You might have said, well, it doesn't say maybe Association of Realtors. Well, in Texas, it's Texas Association of Realtors, right? But it says local. So you don't want to answer local, because what is local? It could be in the state, the county. So it's by our state. Whatever state we're in, the real estate commission, that's who licenses agents in that particular state, licenses brokers. Okay, so 64 is B. Very good. Number 65, we're in a row. Real estate salespersons are most like, okay, so here, so pay attention to this. This one said real estate agents. This one says real estate salespersons. Same, okay? It could say realtor, same, realtor, salesperson, sales agent, unless they say the agent is not paid their local, state, and national dues. Okay, then they're just considered agents. Okay, they don't have access to everything, and they're not protected by the National Association of Realtors and the State Association of Realtors. So, salesperson, agents, same. Real estate salespersons are most likely to work as, so keyword most likely, not always, but most likely to work as A, independent contractors, B, employees, C, associate brokers, D, listing agents. What are we most likely to work as? We could work as all of them. But which one is the most likely? For other little words, okay? Because you're going to say, well, gosh, they're all right. You could be working for a broker and getting paid and still be a real estate salesperson, okay? Instead of selling. However, when we are selling and on our own, independent, and we get a 1099, we are called what? Independent contractors, right? We are all independent contractors when we are the boss of us. Right? That's what we want to be. We want to be the boss of us. I want to be the boss of me, and I am the boss of me. We do not work for the broker. We work with the broker. We are an associate for the broker. Okay? Number 66. We're on a roll here. Very good. All right, 66. The main keyword, obligation, the principal. Who's the principal? Owner, seller, buyer, tenant, landlord. Okay. Owes a real estate agent is. So the main obligation, the principal, owes a real estate agent. So our client, right? The principal could be our client. It doesn't say they're a client yet, but they're our principal. So they're not called a customer. Therefore, they're a client, right? They owe the real estate agent, salesperson, realtor, broker is what? A, confidentiality, B, compensation, C, obedience, or D, accounting. So what is the main thing that they owe us? The main obligation the principal owes, okay, owes a real estate agent is, amen. Okay, so far I have BBB. So you could say that O is a keyword, right? Could be a what? Financial keyword. Because we owe our service, right, on our fiduciary duties. When we do that for them and we owe them that, what do they owe us back? Compensation, right? Yes, they have to pay. Our services deserve to get paid just like any other professional. Luckily, our fee is negotiable. Others may not be negotiable in other industries, right? So we are professionals. And we pay to stay professional, okay? Okay, so 66 was B. Number 67. Both buyer and seller must, okay, little keyword, must. So both of them, buyer and the seller, must consent to the agent's role in the transaction so that they know what? So they must consent, buyer and seller, to the agent's role. So what is our role, right? Our fiduciary responsibilities, right? In the transaction so that they know what? A, who is responsible for the commission? B, whether they need a lawyer? C, whom to ask about hidden defects? Or D, whether their disclosures will be held in confidence? So when they're consenting, they're signing an agreement with us, right? So they are our clients and we owe our fiduciary duty and they're going to be paying us a compensation. Now, we don't typically get paid by the buyer. We get paid by the listing agent that gets paid by the broker that gets paid by the client, right? So far, I have 67, 7A. No, it is not A. So take another attempt at it, please. I would say try again, right? But we're not just trying, we're doing it. So 67, the answer is D. Whether their disclosures will be held in confidence. Okay, whether their disclosures will be kept in confidence, because that is one of our fiduciary duties, right? Confidentiality. 68. Okay, I've got to reduce the resolution here. It's pretty close to showing up already. Okay. Ken Lawton's house is for sale. Well, let me a little bit smaller. Can y'all see the whole thing there? Let me see if I can see it on my phone. I need to reduce it a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Ken Lawton's house is for sale by owner. FSBO. FSBO, for sale by owner. Robert Hall falls in love with it during an open house, tells Ken he will pay the full asking price, and promises to send Ken an earnest money check for $5,000. Now, Ken accepts the offer, right? So Ken is the for sale by owner. Robert is the buyer. And the buyer offers full price and will pay $5,000 earnest money. The contract between them is what? A, enforceable by court action if either tries to back out. B, invalid because it lacks consideration. C, valid only if there were witnesses. D, unenforceable. So this is a for sale by owner. Robert falls in love with it during an open house, tells Ken he will pay the full asking price, and promises to send Ken an earnest money check for $5,000. Ken accepts the offer. This contract between them is what? Think about it. If a contract is taken to court, what is it? What do you need to go to court and have it be enforceable? All right, so far I have, okay, we're on question 68. No one's answering yet? Come on, type your answer on the chat. I'm here to help you and explain the answers. Okay, Joyla says D. Anyone else? Hey, and there's a bunch of you on YouTube. So, hey, do me a favor, man. Go click that like button, thumbs up, and send some support. Let me know if you like this. If you don't like it, if you hate it, then okay, you don't have to like it. And don't use the thumbs down, okay? But anyway, give me some love. All right, so I've got D, no proof. That's right. The answer is 68D. It is not enforceable because the statute says all contracts, okay, statute of frauds, okay, all contracts for sale of real estate must be in writing in order to be enforceable. The only one that is not a must be in writing is a lease for less than a year. Okay, if the lease is for a year or more, it must be in writing to be enforceable, right? Remember, we want to CYA, and anything that anyone is going to want to complain about or fight about in a contract, there has to be some proof, okay, to use in order for the judge or whoever is going to listen to both sides to see what was actually written, what was actually offered, what was actually done. They can't go verbal, okay? All right, number 69. So very good. The Smiths offer to buy the Browns house for $125,000 with the closing scheduled for June 15. Okay, Smiths offer to buy. They are the buyer. Brown's house. Brown is the seller for $125,000 with the closing for June 15. Now, the Browns sign a written acceptance. Okay, it's in writing with the provision that the closing is to be on June 16. At this point, which of the following can occur? A, the Smiths can back out of buying the house with no penalty. B, the Browns can hold the Smiths to a June 15 closing. C, the Browns can hold the Smiths to a June 16 closing. Or D, the Smiths can sue for specific performance on June 15. So Smith offered Brown, okay, but Brown for 15, Brown signed a written acceptance. However, they changed it to closing June 16. So at this point, what can the Smiths do? Smiths are the buyers. What choices do the Smiths have? Remember, when a buyer makes an offer the seller can accept, sit on it, counter, or reject. If it's a counter, is they didn't accept the offer as is, they made a change, and so there's a new, what do they call it? A nouveau or a new contract, right? Even though it was in a contract when nothing is totally signed yet, it can be changed on the contract in the state of Texas. Strike out and add the new. Once everyone's signed, cannot go back and do that. The correct answer here. So Smiths made an offer. They wanted June 15th. Mr. Brown or the Browns, they countered. They accepted, but they countered with June 16th. So that is a counter. The Smiths have to either accept, reject, counter, or sit on it. Okay. So the Smiths can back out by buying the house with no penalty because they didn't accept the date 16. Okay. So they actually made a counter offer. All right. So it constitutes a rejection of the 16. Okay. And they wanted still to have the 15. So they are free and may accept or reject that counter offer. So the answer is 69A. Do you understand that, Donnie? 69A. It's considered a counter because they want the 15. The seller wants a 16. The seller, it says, signed a written acceptance, however, with a new condition. So that's considered a counter. Now it goes back to the buyer. The buyer needs to make a decision. If they want to accept, if they want to counter, if they want to reject, or they just do nothing, which do nothing means basically that they reject. All right. Hey guys, excuse me for a moment. I need to clear my sinuses. So I'll be right back. Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so that was number 69. Oh, the music didn't turn on. Good. Great that you got it. That's for Donnie. All right, number 70. All right, there we go. 70. For anyone that just came in, we are doing national questions that applies to all 50 states. And we're using this particular book, the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam. And for those of you who are in another state, you go, well, what the heck? Why are you showing us Texas Real Estate? Well, because almost all books cover national and vocabulary. So it applies to everyone. All right, number 70. Consideration to bind a contract may be in the form of. So what is consideration? Vocabulary. I haven't been pointing out that, all the vocabulary words. So consideration to bind, what is bind? A contract. What's a contract? May be in the form of A, cash or cash equivalent only. B, anything that the parties agree upon as long as it has monetary value. C, money, promises, or services. D, thoughtful treatment of the other party's feelings. Although sometimes real estate is you know, personal feely wheely. That's not how we make deals. It's not about making deals because of feelings or consideration. So remember, what can a consideration be? Does it have to be cash? You know, think about it. So ask yourself, does it have to be cash or can it be other things? And when I mean cash, it could be, you know, a check, a money order, a cashier's check, or it could be wired. Today, a lot of honest money is wired in. And today is, we're in 2022, and that all came about due to COVID, facilitating a lot of transactions. It is not B. It is not B. Earnest money does not have to be monetary. Okay? Thanks for joining us, Stephanie Wooten. It does not have to be cash. The answer is C. It can be money in the form of a check, earnest cashier check, money order, promises, or services. You know, remember the old days we say, you sign a little piece of paper, hey, I promise to pay you this by such and such date. Well, hi, Elida, we can do a promise. Yesenia, nice to see you. Or it can be services, or they can be doing a trade of property. It can be any of those. It does not have to be money. A promise to pay in the form of money, an exchange, you know, anything else. The answer is C. That's right. It is C. Must be C. This is question number 70. Yes. Okay. Very good. All right. So let me ask you. We're already at 37 minutes. My plan was to try to keep it in an hour so we can move on to state questions, or I can do a little bit more national. Type in the chat box really big. Should I continue doing maybe 5 more national or move on to state questions, which would be Texas state questions? So give me a quick answer in the chat box, please. And I'll accommodate you. In the meantime, this is Wow Lillie Handy coming to you from San Antonio, Texas with YouTube Agent Prep or Agent Prep, right? Here to help you to get ready to pass your exams or help you get your real estate business going and how to grow it. I'll be doing videos about that. So remember to go to my YouTube channel, tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so you first get notified, and like this video, thumbs up if you find it useful. Okay, so I have national, state. Okay, more people sign, type in, okay? Because right now it looks like state. So there's a whole bunch of you on here. So if nobody else replies, I am moving to state questions. Okay, the answer is we will move to state questions. So we are now on Texas state questions. All right, we're using a different book for Texas state. And I bought this book on Amazon. Okay, it's a online book with Kindle. It's the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam, License Exam Prep. I bought this in December. So it's a current book. I think it was written in 2020. And again, this has, similar to the other book, it reviews the national and the Texas state. And then it also has, you know, all the sections. It has math cram cards and the Texas laws and regulations. And then it has, I think it's 10 tests for national. And it lets you know what material is being covered in each test. The other book that we were just on doesn't do that, but this one does. and it has 6 state exams. Today we are on test number 12, licensing regulations. We're, I think, on the last question, and we'll be starting next then standards of conduct and brokerage practice. All right. So hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us. So for all of you that are on Facebook, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give Facebook permission to post your name on Facebook and StreamYard. Otherwise, this is how we see you, Facebook user, instead of like Elida. Okay. And so we all like to know who's participating. So go to StreamYard.com, StreamYard.com/Facebook. It's a real quick process. Just click on that link or copy and paste, and then give StreamYard permission to post your name on Facebook. Facebook doesn't allow sharing names unless they're given permission. Okay, so we are on question 1216. I clicked the wrong thing. On 1216. Okay, we did 15 on session number 10. You can go to that video and do the other questions. So I'm doing a series. I started with series Best Q&A, session 1, and today we're on session 11. So the national questions start on 1. Some of the state, because the state only has 30 questions per each exam in the other book, those are not exactly in starting at number 1. But from wherever I started, I do go in series, okay? So I changed all the thumbnails so that all of you could follow and see that I started with series number 1 on the same book, question 1 on exam 1, on where we will continue until we finish exam number 4. And on the national, we have 80 questions. On the state, only 30, so the state goes by faster. I have to get different books, okay? All right. Number 16 on section 12. Right, and what did I say this content was today? Licensing, the topic. Yeah, licensing regulations. Okay, so that's the topic. The topic that we are discussing on here, that the questions are about. Okay, which of the following is true regarding? True, okay, positive, true. Regarding the maintenance of one's license status. Which of the following is true regarding the maintenance of one's license status? So keeping our license, okay, to where we can be sales agents, salespersons, realtors, brokers. A, deactivating brokers must give sponsored sales agents a 30-day notice from the date of the application. B, a sponsoring broker has to notify TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, of a sales agent firing within 1 week of the occurrence. So the sponsoring broker to notify TREC of one of their sales agents that we're hanging our license there within 1 week. C, to reactivate a broker license, the broker must satisfy all CE requirements and take a 3-hour ethics update course. And D, to reactivate a sales agent license, licensees must complete a 3-hour legal update course. So let me minimize this so I can get it all on one screen. Okay, so there's number 16. So which one is true about the maintaining one's license status? And what is that status? Active, right? In order to be able to practice real estate, we must have an active license, and there are certain things we have to do, especially every 2 years in Texas, right? We renew our license. What is required there? But if it's not a renewal, you have to pay attention to each of the questions. The first one says deactivating brokers must give sponsored sales agents a 30-day notice advance from the date of the application. B, sponsoring broker has to notify TREC of sales agent firing within 1 week of occurrence. C, to reactivate a broker license, the broker must satisfy all CE requirements and take a 3-hour ethics update course. Or D, to reactivate a sales agent license, licenses must complete a 3-hour legal update course. So this one says reactivate. First one says deactivate. And the second one says about firing a realtor or a sales agent. So which answer would it be? So deactivating brokers means they're going to get out of the business. They're going to go inactive, right? So it says how many days should they give notice to their agents? Because they've got to give them time to look for somebody else. B says, firing. Well, they can get rid of us, but we're not employed by them. But yes, they can say, hey, we don't want you at this office. You're kind of fired from this office, right? Nobody's answering. Okay, the answer here is 1216A. So it says deactivating brokers must give sponsored sales agents, right? Because we hang our license with them, a 30 days notice, advance notice of any application to deactivate their license. So the broker must notify TREC, right? And notify all their realtors, all their sponsorees, okay, of their deactivation. The notice period is timed to the application date. And the application date is the application they make to TREC. Okay. So did I type the answer? Yes, 1216. Of 16A. Okay, did y'all get that? Sales agents license are to reactivate it. Okay, we have to take whatever hours we're missing. It might be the 18 hours we have to redo. It may require the legal update courses that we have to take today are 2 4-hour classes. Legal update 1, legal update 2. Each one of those is 4 hours. So that's 8 hours. And then 10 hours of electives. And then the ethics course. But look at what it says here. 3 hours ethics update course. Here it says 3-hour legal update course. Well, legal update requires 2 4-hour courses. Legal update 1, legal update 2. Ethics, we do it on the national page, or we can pay an organization or a school, and they have to help reactivate their broker license. They must do all the CE requirements depending on the time frame. Okay, so the correct answer that stated everything correct was A. Okay, good. Right, number 17. Oh, we're starting test number 13, and this test covers standards of conduct in brokerage practice. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can relate to this. So conduct in brokerage practice, standards of conduct. Licenses must, okay, so careful about that word, must. So it's something we must do. Licensees must conspicuously display Form 1-1, a consumer disclosure form. Its central message is what? So we have to let all consumers know on social media, email, any type of advertising. The central message of that disclosure form 1-1 is what? A, licensees should abide by the rule, caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware. B, licensees do not necessarily represent the party who compensates them. C, Texas Real Estate Commission, maintains a recovery fund that may be used to satisfy judgments against licensees who have violated the law. Or D, licensees are not bound by any duty to maintain confidentiality in their dealings with customers and clients. So which one must we do? Okay, so there's one of them that we must do. So licenses must conspicuously display Form 11, a consumer disclosure form. Its central message is, okay, so far I have C. Not many individuals taking a chance on this one, huh? Okay, the answer is 13.1C. So the standard of conduct in that form, consumer disclosure form, TREC maintains a recovery fund. It's not to pay off back the realtor's losses. It's to pay off the consumer, okay? That may be used to satisfy judgments against licensees. Our E&O is supposed to protect us or fight for us. And if we lose, there's certain things that we may have to pay. But there is a deductible on the E&O. But this recovery fund is to satisfy judgments from the public. Okay? Licensees do not necessarily represent the party who compensates them. Well, yes, that is true, but that is not what's in the form disclosure. Okay? Read the question. What is included in the consumer disclosure form? It is not that licensees may not be compensated by the person that they represent. Do not necessarily represent the party who compensates them. That is not the primary focus or the central message, the intent of that form. Consumer disclosure form. Okay? So 13.1C. All right, so let's see. Let me see if I can quickly look up for you to see. I don't have a website open on this screen. So just look up the consumer disclosure form 11, okay? If you want to know more information about it. So let me see what the answer on here says. If I can. So let's see. Trex maintains recovery fund that may be used to satisfy judgments against licensees who have violated the law. TREC requires the display of its form identifying the real estate recovery fund as a means to compensate damaged parties for the misdeeds of licensees. The form also includes TREC's contact data for use if consumers wish to make a complaint. Okay, now this is not the IABS information about brokerage services. This is the TREC disclosure form. Okay, there are two forms that we must disclose on our advertisements, and this is one of them. Okay, 13.2. That was number 1. And let's see if it'll come out all on one page. Yes. Simply large. Okay, that's better. 13.2, continuing on Texas state questions. Unbeknownst to a buyer, an intermediary. So what's an intermediary? Vocabulary, right? An intermediary informs a seller that the buyer will pay a premium price for the seller's property. Is this an acceptable disclosure? So unbeknownst to the buyer, so the buyer doesn't know that an intermediary, who acts as an intermediary at a brokerage, a salesperson, a broker, a sales agent, a principal, who acts as an intermediary. So that intermediary informs the seller that the buyer will pay a premium price for the seller's property. Is this an acceptable disclosure? A, yes, since the intermediary represents the seller, he is acting in his seller's best interest. B, yes, since it is no common knowledge that the buyer is on a very tight deadline to move. C, no, since the intermediary did not receive the buyer's authorization to make such disclosure. Or D, no, since the disclosure violates the agent's fiduciary duty to the buyer. Okay, so not all the answers showed up in one page. Dang it. So if I make it larger, will it show up? No, that doesn't work. Okay, there we go. So what is 13.2? 13.2. So there's an intermediary. Who's the intermediary? It's the broker, right? The broker is the intermediary. So what can an intermediary do? They forgot to type A on here next to the first statement. So the answer here is C, no. So is this an acceptable disclosure? No. Since the intermediary did not receive the buyer's authorization to make such a disclosure. Okay, so the intermediary is a broker. So the broker has the listing, the agent representing the listing and the agent representing the buyer. Okay, so that intermediary is like a mediator, the go-between both clients. They're there to help mediate any problem, help resolve without giving advice or helping anybody. And we cannot disclose anybody else's information unless, okay, that buyer said that we could. And why would they do that? You know, the buyer wants to get the best price for a property. So the answer is 13.2C. Okay. Okay. Number 3. A licensee who is charged with felony fraud pleads no lo contendere and all charges are dismissed. In this case, the licensee is what? A, may have his license suspended or revoked. B, must notify the real estate commission of the guilty plea. C, is exempt from any commission notification since there was no guilty plea. Or D, has done nothing wrong. So a licensee who is charged with a felony fraud pleads no lo contendere and all charges are dismissed. So in this case, what must the licensee do? Must they do something or not? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, there's quite a few on you here. Come on, type the answer. Don't be shy. This is the time to be brave and let me help you if for some reason you get the wrong answer choice. Okay. So the licensee may have their license suspended or revoked. It doesn't say they will have it. It'll be up to the Texas Real Estate Commission. However, they'll have to inform TREC, and TREC will make that decision. So they may, okay, have their license revoked. Not necessarily will. So they didn't plead guilty, right? They plead no contendere. So they didn't plead guilty or not guilty, right? And they're not exempt from any commission notification since there was no guilty plea, and they can't just do nothing. TREC has to be informed. Okay, number 4. Let's see here. Let's see if it'll come out on the page. No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, I have to go rather small in here. Darn. Let's see. Page width. Okay, there's number 4. A licensee opts to use a custom design form to transact a residential sale. So a licensee opts to use a custom design form to transact a residential sale. The contract used was a bona fide sales agreement used extensively prior to the existence of TREC promulgated forms. In this case, the licensee is what? A, faces legal exposure for the unauthorized practice of law. B, could have her license suspended or revoked. C, may supplant a promulgated form with a previously used contract with impunity. Or D, has not committed any violation of license law. Type your answer in the chat. So let's see, I haven't seen anybody asking questions. Nobody's wanting to be brave today. These are a little bit more difficult, huh? So a licensee decides to use a custom design form, okay, that is not current. It was used before. It was a bona fide sales agreement. However, when state laws changed, Texas Real Estate Commission updates those contracts, and they provide it to all the brokers have access to it, and informs all the brokers, okay, that the forms have changed, and we must use the new forms. So in this case, the licensee could have her license suspended or revoked. His or her license could be suspended or revoked. No, we cannot use a previously used contract. Okay, it has to be a current document, current promulgated contracts, because the laws change, it has to be shown in a new form. So if they don't follow the rules, they could lose their license, suspended or revoked. Okay, number 15. Which of the following is a license law? Okay, so hope everybody understands that, okay? Texas questions can be rather challenging. Why we only have a minimum amount of, well, I shouldn't say that. Okay, no questions. So which of the following is a license law violation? So which one is a license law violation? A, failing to retain trust fund records for the required 6 years. B, advertising listings without an advertising license. C, failing to recommend that a buyer obtain an inspection on a transaction. Or D, failing to disclose a previous licensed tenancy from another state on the license application. Type your answer on the chat and we'll be back with the answer. Come on, y'all. Think about it and type your answer in the chat. Not many participants today. Okay, the answer here is D. Failing to disclose a previous licensed tenancy from another state on the license application. So we need to disclose to track whether we've had a license or not. Because when we're applying to a new state, okay, some states have reciprocation, meaning they will respect a license from another state. However, stating that you have had a license in another state, and if it's active, you still have to take all the courses, yet we only have to take the Texas exam. So 13.5D. Okay, number 13.6. All right, anyone asking? No. I'm looking at all my different screens here. All right. No questions, no questions. 13.6. A sales agent is interested. So sales agent, realtor, real estate salesperson, all the same, okay? Is interested in selling a duplex he owns that is not making enough money. In fact, the units are in red. So in red, why? Negative cash flow. They owe money with no end in sight. So it becomes a money pit, right? That investment is a money pit. Which of the following is true? A, the licensee is barred from personally selling the property since he is licensed. B, the sales agent may sell the property provided he discloses the loss in a pro forma profit projection. C, the licensee may sell the property without restriction regardless of the profitability. Or D, the sales agent may sell the property provided he makes proper disclosure as to his license status. So what can or can we not do when we're selling our own property? What must we do? Okay, there is a must of what we must do. when we're selling our own? Type your answer in the chat. And yes, the answer is D. The sales agent may sell the property provided he makes proper disclosures as to his license status. He could also have someone else list it for him, and on the contract or the listing agreement, it must state seller is a licensed realtor in the state of whatever state. We're in Texas. So that has to be disclosed. Even if they're not listing them themselves, they're having another realtor listed for them. So 13.6 is D. All right, number 7. 3 of the following statements constitute a violation of acceptable brokerage practice, and 1 statement represents acceptable practice. So 3 of the following statements constitute a violation. So 3 of them are bad, of a violation of acceptable brokerage practice, and 1 statement represents acceptable. So 1 statement is true. Which one is not a violation? A sales agent tells a buyer that the seller can paint the house in 2 days, a job that takes 4 days. B, sales agent places a new sign on the property advertising a reduced price despite the fact that the listing expires in less than a week. C, a broker uses $500 from his trust fund to pay a personal fee and redeposit the money back into the account within 24 hours. D, a sales agent tells the buyer that he guarantees the property will appreciate as it has for the last 10 years. Okay, so what can or can we not do? Type your answer in the chat. So which one is not a violation? I know there's a whole bunch of you in here. How come you're not participating? Last one was Joyla and Elida. Okay, well, nobody participates. I'll type the answers much quicker. The answer here is B. A sales agent places a new sign on a property advertising a reduced price. That's okay, despite the fact that the listing expires in less than a week. That's okay. They might get a contract within that week, right? And maybe it'll get extended. So it's okay, even if it's, 2 days prior to the expiration, might get an offer really quick. So great. So thanks, Joyla, for answering. All right, number 13.8. Wow, the screen goes crazy. All right, 13.8. Which of the following statements would subject a licensee's license to suspension or revocation? So what statement could cause the licensee's license to be suspended or revoked? Okay. A, including the broker's business identification on an advertisement. B, receiving a 10% commission on a property sale when the going rate is 6%. C, placing an excess number of signs on a property for sale. Or D, persuading a represented seller to hold off on selling until the listing period ends, at which time the sales agent can get her a much better price. So which one could a licensee cause themselves to lose their license in suspension or revocation? Which one would go against our fiduciary duties, against the law? So which of the following statements is wrong or would cause the realtor, sales agent, salesperson, real estate salesperson license to be suspended or revoked. Okay, so far I have D. And yes, the answer is 13.8D. Persuading a represented seller, that means they have something in writing signed, so they owe them a fiduciary duty to hold off on selling until the listing period ends, at which time the sales agent can get her a much better price. Okay, that is not good practice, not doing the best for the client. They could end up doing an amendment and changing the price. Now, if they're thinking of increasing the price, that could affect it. They may let it expire and start a new listing, which it's okay. All right. But not for them to persuade. Okay. We are not here to persuade. That's the key word, the trick word. Okay. That causes that licensee to potentially lose their license. Okay. We don't persuade. We advise our clients and they make a decision. We don't steer them. We don't scare them. Okay. We don't do blockbusting. We advise them to the best that we can to help them. And if we don't have the best answer, then we go to our broker or someone that has better experience than we do. But it's best to get the answer from a broker. Because we never know how good of experience the realtor has or how they practice real estate. Okay. We want to make sure it's being practiced ethically. And a broker has to look out for us and make sure they advise us properly. So number 9, 3 of the following are license law violations and one is not. Which one is not a violation? So there's one good statement in the answers. 3 of them are violations. So which one of the following is a good statement, is not a violation? A licensee forgets to mail a copy of a signed transaction document to a principal. B, a broker distributes funds during distribute trust funds during a closing. C, a broker makes one monthly deposit into the trust fund on the first business day of every month. Or D, informs a prospective buyer that a property might still be for sale even though the sale has closed. So which one is not a violation? Type your answer in the chat. So can we forget to mail a signed contract to the client? No, we're required to give them a contract. Nowadays, they get emailed. Sometimes we do have to deliver a hard copy. Can a broker distribute trust funds during a closing? And can a broker make one monthly deposit into the trust fund on the first business day of every month? Or D, can the broker inform a prospective buyer that a property might still be for sale even though the sale has closed? So the answer here is B. A broker distributes trust funds during a closing. Because let's say the broker is doing the closing themselves. Okay, it could be the closing of a lease contract or the closing, they have the ability to do closing. They would be keeping their money, okay, in the trust funds, and any money that is due to the seller, okay, from the sale would be paid to the seller from that trust fund that they hold any client money. The others is, we cannot forget to mail. A broker makes one monthly deposit into the trust fund. Well, which money? That means they're doing their personal money. Okay. The first business day. I mean, that's okay, right? But why are they depositing money into the trust fund? The last one, you can't tell somebody it might still be for sale when it already closed, right? So 13.9B. I forgot to type 13.9. Okay. Number 10. Wow. Okay, number 10. Which of the following constitutes the unauthorized practice of law? Which one constitutes unauthorized practice of law? So a realtor, a broker, or a salesperson is practicing law that is unauthorized. A, advising a seller that her property has a title defect. B, completes a promulgated contract. C, informing a buyer that a property purchase entails numerous legal ramifications. Or D, advising a seller to obtain sufficient property insurance. So which of the following constitutes the unauthorized practice of law? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, let's see. Joyla says C. No, it is not C. So which one of the following constitutes the unauthorized practice of law? So they're not practicing law, okay, on C. They're just informing the buyer that there could be, numerous legal ramifications. So they're probably going to say, hey, go talk to a lawyer. But the answer A, we are not title insurance company. We are not lawyers. Attorneys do the title research at the title companies. They have a title department to search. Hi, D. Patrice. So the answer is A, advising a seller that her property has a title defect. We don't know for sure. Okay, that's practicing law. So we need to send them to the title company to advise them of that, or they need to go to a lawyer, because the title companies have lawyers in there, but they typically don't interact directly with the client. So we would say, hey, go to an attorney and get advice, because it may take a lot of work to clear this up. We cannot advise on that. We are not attorneys or experts on title defects or any title information. We can complete promulgated contracts. Yes. We can inform a buyer that a property entails numerous legal ramifications. They're only informing them. And D, they can advise a seller to obtain sufficient property insurance, right? Normally we'll let them know, hi, Jean, that the insurance company will let you know sufficient type of insurance that you can get and whether that property will qualify for insurance. Because anytime they're buying a property and it has a loan, they're going to have to get insurance. And so we don't know what amount they have to get. So we send them to an insurance company. That's their expertise, right? Right? Okay, so that's the last question on state tonight. We did 10 national questions and 10 state to keep the class a little bit shorter, even though it still goes long with explaining the question, the detail, pointing out keywords, it takes a little bit time. However, I'm hearing from students that it is really, really helping them by me breaking down the questions. So a reminder is that when you go take your exams, what I've read in some of these prep books is that the first 5 questions are the most difficult ones and the math. Therefore, click the first 5 questions up for review, write them down, make sure you remember to come back to them, and the math. Do all the easy questions so that you can go through them quicker. Then come back to the hard ones, because now you have sufficient time. The first 5, if you don't know them, could get you really stressed and get nervous about answering the rest of them. Okay, so skip the first 5 and the math, do all the easy ones, and come back to those after you've completed all the other questions. Review a couple of the videos that I have about 8 tips for taking the test. And another one is how to relax and prepare, okay, the night before the test exam, okay? You want to relax. You want to get good sleep. Don't drink a lot of coffee the day before. Know where the location is. Don't cram the night before, okay? So before you go to the exam, if there's a cologne that helps you relax, use that cologne, or chew a particular gum that helps you relax, okay? A certain music that helps you relax. Do all that before you enter the exam room, okay? Don't rush. Don't end up not knowing how to get there. Don't leave at the last minute. Don't cram the night before. This will get you nervous. Before you walk in, relax, take a deep breath, and just focus and say, I have an easy exam. I passed the exams. I know what I learned. I know that I passed. Be confident and relax. Okay? So remember, go to my YouTube channel, tab that subscribe button, click the little bell so you're the first to get notified every time that I go live, and like this video if you found it beneficial. Okay? I do this twice a week, Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. every week. Okay, y'all, and you can text me in Messenger, watch other videos. This is a series, and started with series number 1, Best Q&A. It's a red thumbnail. So this is number 11. There's 10 prior, and it starts with the book. Okay, let me show you the main book that's on there that covers national and state. So let me share it again. So this is the book, okay? And many of you may have it already. I said that if this book is online on Google, okay, that's how I got it. One of my students told me about it. It's 287 pages. And it has 4 exams. It's old, so some of the state questions are outdated, but the rest is awesome. And it explains the answers, has vocabulary. So I can't seem to stress it enough about learning your vocabulary, okay? I pointed out certain words on the state questions, okay, that you needed to know the vocabulary in order to answer the question. And on the national also. Very, very, very important, okay? And for some reason, hey, you all, if you don't pass the first time, it's okay. It's okay. Go and take it again. I had a student that didn't pass the state this week, and she redid it and took it 2 days later and passed, right? So don't be scared. Just do it. We all get nervous at one point, and we all beat ourselves sometimes, right? No, no, no. Don't beat yourself up. And don't say, oh, it wasn't meant to be for me, okay? So real estate is not for me. No, it's not that either, okay? When we really want something, we got to keep going for it. However, before I call it a night, I do want to point out one thing, y'all. You've got to make sure you have a serious purpose as to why you're doing this. Real estate is not easy. It takes a lot of work. Okay. And many think it's a fun, joyous type of job. And yes, it can be. But we're dealing with a lot of personalities, a lot of people. It takes a lot of work. It takes money to make money. And 80% of realtors or 75% drop out after the second year because it's not something that is easy. This is your business. It's not a job. It's not just career. We don't work for somebody. We work for ourselves. We're the boss of us. We're the boss of me. I'm the boss of me. So we have to create the business. We have to generate the leads. We have to pay for sources if we want to grow. We have to do nowadays video. It's important to do video. That is the way to communicate and inform the community, the client, the people, other realtors, and get a mentor when you start out. Oh, that lets me know. Okay, so I'm with eXp Realty, and we provide mentors for your first 3 transactions. So remember that I'm also a realtor, and I'm looking for realtors to join me at eXp Realty. Okay, don't bypass me, right? You already know that I'm willing to help. So let me help you once you become a realtor to get your business going and guide you in the direction of not spending a lot of money. I've tried so many things that work and don't work. The goal is to get you to produce before you start spending a lot of money. And it is going to cost you money to get started. Paying an application fee, paying your monthly dues to the board of realtors, paying your quarterly dues to the board of realtors. And when you first start, you have to pay for the local realtor board, national, and state. That's a big expense, and that's due every January. Okay, and in the middle of the year, it's prorated. Make sure you interview several companies and see what they're providing you with education and training and good technology. Okay, don't expect to be handheld. Don't expect to be given leads. Don't expect it to be easy. Okay, not even God promised us a rose garden. Life is hard, so is real estate. It can be easy, but we have to work at it. We have to continue developing ourselves. There's so many aspects of this business, and one of them is keeping our positive mindset. Our mental mindset is crucial, and not taking things personal. Okay, I don't want to bust your bubble, but 75 to 80% of realtors that get their license don't make it within the first or second year. They drop out. Didn't expect it to be what it became. So research it. Find out if this is really what you want. Talk to different realtors, different brokers. Talk to me, okay? So anyway, with that said, I wish you the best if this is really what you want to do. And if it doesn't work out, hey, what the heck? Okay? There's many other things to do. All right? However, you're in this business, learn to ask questions and reach out for others for help and hang out and rub elbows, okay, with others that you want to be like. All right, until next time, catch you all later. Bye. Thank you all for tonight.